Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Red Saree's webinar series. My name is Shree Gurusamy. I'm the president of the Red Saree Illinois chapter. I'm also a social worker by profession. And today we have a very important topic that we are going to be talking about. I'd like to also give a brief introduction about the Red Saree organization and what we have been doing. Red Saree has a mission of promoting healthier and happier lifestyles for South Asians, and through a lot of community outreach sessions, we have been providing information on healthy lifestyles, engaging in exercise programs. We've been talking about mental health and safety during the pandemic. In keeping in mind with those goals, today's presentation will focus on managing mental health concerns and stress I would like to also go over some housekeeping rules before we get introduced with the speaker. So let me share my screen. Okay, so today's presentation, we just want to make sure that everybody understands. It will be about 60 minutes. The lines will be muted. Everyone is welcome to submit questions in the chat window. And the webinar is being recorded. The recording will be available on the Red Saree Facebook page and the YouTube channel. And we are not going to have any breaks, but if you feel you need to take a break, please excuse yourself. Now I'm going to welcome our speaker. And before I give an introduction, I just want to let you know that she is the founder of an organization called Sanjeevani, which was started about 5 years ago in Chicago. The basic mission is to support and assist our community with any type of mental health concerns. And we their 5-year anniversary. Promila Kumar is a professional IT consultant, and her passion with mental health issues. So she is a very dear friend of mine, and I really am so glad that she's able to provide this presentation for us. So I'm going to have her take over and talk to us about managing stress during the pandemic and what are some resources that we can reach out to get the help that we need. So Promila, welcome and thank you. Please take over.
Hi, Promila, you are muted, so can you?
Everyone, thank you, Shree. Thank you, Red Saree, for this opportunity. And good evening, everyone. I hope you had a good day and a good evening today. Hope nobody is stressed a whole lot, right? Because we're going to be talking about stress and depression. So let me share my screen, and we do have some slides. All right, so our topic today is awareness on mental health concerns, especially during COVID-19 situations. So, show of hands, I know we have a lot of community joining in here. Were you ever in anxiety? Were you ever depressed before March? Probably, yes. Everyone is, in anxiety. People are sad. People are agitated. They are lonely. It happens, right? But the anxiety level, the depression level, the other kind of mental health concerns have really escalated since March. Do we all agree? Yes, and in different ways, and that is what we're going to be talking about. Our goal, and otherwise, of course, is to make sure we bring awareness to emotional challenges and mental well-being happening during this pandemic in three specific areas: obsessive drinking, eating, obsessive with TV, different kinds of media, social media, what are available counseling resources, and how Sanjeevani can be one of the ways where help can be provided to you. Sanjeevani, as Shree mentioned, is a non-profit organization to provide free 24/7 advocacy and support for anyone going through mental health concerns or domestic abuse. It does provide actionable tools and resources so that informed choices can be made by the community who is being affected. So we always hear, I'm so depressed, I'm so anxious, I'm sad, I'm stressed everywhere. You know, you're at work, you're at home, you're managing your kids, you're driving, I'm stressed, look at the traffic. You know, you want to watch a movie, I'm stressed, look at the ending is not coming. These are buzzwords or what? Huh? Stress, depression, well, it's actually real. It is real and it happens in different ways to different people. But have we ever understood why depression happens, right? Depression is such a state in your system where your mind, your body stops taking instruction from you and it starts behaving in a compulsive way. This simple understanding can be the first step taken towards healing depression. But again, this is depression. This is just a definition of depression. Why do we get depressed? Why do we get so stressed? When things don't happen your way, when things are not in your control, you get upset. And a series of such incidents makes you increase your level of depression. So stress, more stress, more stress, more stress combines into depression. If depression is not handled very soon, it can definitely be very self-damaging. Let me give you a very, very simple example. Supposing you are driving, right? And it's morning rush hour, you're going to work and you see a huge line of cars in front of you. You have a meeting in another 30 minutes. What do? You are sweating, you're depressed, you're honking, and maybe cussing the person behind you. But why? You are depressed, you are stressed because you're not able to reach your work on time. But is the traffic in your control? So that is a question we have to ask. Is the situation in your control? Is the traffic in your control? No. Then if something is not in your control, there may be no use stressing. So in different kind of situations, when we do feel stressed, that's one question we can ask. Is the situation in my control? If it is in my control, let us find you the different ways how you can decrease that stress level and move on. There are different kinds of mental health concerns, and I'm going to list out in the order. Anxiety disorders, bipolar disorder, depression, eating disorders, OCD, personality disorder, schizophrenia. Each of them have got different sets of symptoms. Now you may say, well, maybe request if other participants may please mute their line. All right. Thank you so much, sir, ma'am. All right. So, we all get, anxiety disorders. Today, tomorrow, exams are happening. I broke up with my girlfriend or boyfriend. I have work issues. It happens. But if the feeling of stress and anxiety stays for a period of 7 days or more, then this is a cause of alarm. And the person who is going through all of this should try to get help or understand, maybe is this more of a serious issue. All of this, as I said, it begins with anxiety, stress, and then it can move into different areas. Schizophrenia is a mental illness which occurs when parts of the brain are responsible for emotions stop working properly. Now, when we get fever, what do? We take a thermometer, we see the temperature. Okay, it's more than 100. I need to take a medicine. So there are physical symptoms of someone having a physical disease, diabetes, fever, heart problem, and so on and so forth. Most often, mental health do not show visible signs. I may be talking to you, but I may be going through a lot of depression. I may be very sad internally, but nothing will show up physically. So one thing to note is, people, when they feel some of these things, the physical symptoms may be less or minimal. So what else has caused the coronavirus COVID-19, apart from disrupting lifestyles, disrupting economies, and a lot many things? This outbreak has been very, very stressful for people. There's fear, there's anxiety of the unknown, and unable to manage all of these situations. So for example, we see a lot of COVID patients, and someone may ask, can you just end the pandemic? Again, the one question I'm going to ask you, is the pandemic in your control? No, it's not. I wish it was. If it is not in your control, then our stress can be curtailed a little bit, because the only thing you have control over is yourself. And to yourself, what is happening? There's fear and worry about your own health, the health of your loved ones. Should I go out? Even if I wear a mask, what happens? Can I protect myself from others? There's changes in sleep or eating patterns. There's difficulty sleeping or concentrating. If there's health problems, they are becoming more chronic. And the most important thing and the most unfortunate thing, worsening of mental health conditions. Increased use of alcohol, tobacco, or other drugs. Supposing you are living here in the US, right? Most of the families are immigrant families living in nuclear families, right? Maybe if they are married, maybe a spouse, maybe a kid or two. And if they are single, all by themselves. So as it is, things were so nuclear, you're all by yourself, and the pandemic has increased the loneliness. At least earlier there was a chance to meet people, but yes, we have to curtail that because we want to stop the spread of the pandemic. So the loneliness, increasing stress, increasing concerns about safety, job, finances, a lot of the other things have increased stress manifold. So these are some of the things which is a common reaction to COVID-19. Well, I'm really concerned about protecting myself. I can wear a mask and go out. What if the other person is not wearing a mask? Will I be affected? What can I do to prevent that? I am so isolated. I live all by myself. I cannot meet my friend. I cannot go and visit someone whom I love. I cannot go and do my social interactions. I am feeling guilt. Can I help my neighbor? Should I go and help him or her? What if there's something wrong happening? I feel guilty. Increased levels of distress will be giving you increased level of depression. And especially, people who live in lower income household or have a language barrier, any help they want to seek is all closed or minimal. And the other part is stigma, especially in South Asians. There's a huge stigma of reporting or at least owning or being aware of mental health concerns. So supposing I go and tell you, Shree or Red Saree, you know what, I think I have cancer. Will you please help me? Oh, you'll be saying, oh, yes, Promila, I'm going to help you. Let me know what I can do for you. And then you'll be all there to help me. But if I tell you, hey, Red Saree team, I think I have depression. Will you help me? So there's again a question mark to say, oh my God, this person has depression. How do I help her? Is it contagious? Will I get it? It is a big stigma to own up to someone experiencing depression and also someone trying to help a person going through depression. Depression is a word by itself which is stigmatized. And do you know, audiences, World Health Organization recognized this. And they said, you know what, we're going to get rid of this word which is so stigmatized and call it the big black dog. So if I tell you, Red Saree team, I think I have a black big dog. I am unable to take care of. Will you please help me? And then you would say, yes, yes, Promila, I'll help you with your big black dog. Let me know what I can do. So, our objective is to make sure that, the big black dog can also be termed as depression. It's okay to be not okay. How do we cope up with stress? Right now, because again, we are socially isolated, we are watching TV, we are reading the news, WhatsApp, newspapers, and most of the news is invested with what? COVID-19. India, USA, name it, the whole world is being affected. Yes, take breaks from watching, reading any of the news stories which stress you even further. Give timelines. Take care of your body. Stretching, meditation, yoga, or any kind of physical exercise you can do. Even walking 30 minutes is absolutely great. And you don't have to go to a gym to do that. But yes, any kind of physical activity, if you have a garden or a lawn or an outdoor, do some gardening. Try to eat healthy, well-balanced meals. Get plenty of sleep. And we'll talk about sleep, why sleep is so important. And avoid alcohol and drugs. Make time to unwind. Sometimes they say, yes, pandemic is a boon or a bane. Should I really be enjoying pandemic? We're not asking anyone to enjoy, but we are requesting, let us make the best use of this time which is coming through pandemic. If you are working, then most of us have opportunity to work from home. If there is an added time, read a couple of books, maybe develop a new hobby. Maybe you were a singer or playing an instrument. Pick it up. It does not hurt. So we are in a pandemic, and the only way we are communicating is through Zoom, like this, phone, WhatsApp, or FaceTime, and different kinds of media. Yes, we should be communicating because that is the only way we can be sane, actually. Alcohol, drugs. Now tell me, why do we drink? We drink, and again, one of the reasons of drinking is linked with our mental health. Mental health problems not only result from drinking too much alcohol, they can also cause people to drink too much. So if you see this, this slide over here, it's actually a circle. Stress to alcohol to mental health to problems and stress. So it's a continuing circle of mental health problems. Why drink? Is it a status symbol? You go to a party, someone offers, hey, would you want some wine? And do you want a beverage? Do you want, vodka, beer, and so on and so forth? Yes, social drinking is there. Then one of the major reasons why drinking alcohol is there, to change our mind, lighten up. So people, you may say, I feel good, I feel relaxed because I've had that, one glass of alcoholic beverage. Alcohol can alleviate feelings of anxiety and depression, and it's often called self-medication. And so you must have heard this. Many people, I'm sad, I'm going to drink. I'm very happy, I'm going to drink. So inability to manage any kind of emotional upheaval leads to what? Drinking. Drinking to deal with difficult feelings is also self-medication and a symptom of mental illness. But let's ask, are we drinking to avoid undiagnosed issues? And most often that is the case which is happening during this pandemic. Are we just drinking to avoid dealing with this pandemic or the feelings which is resulting from loneliness, stress, depression, anxiety caused by COVID-19? Yes, yes, and yes. Just because I'm drinking, because I want to forget this issue, I want to avoid talking, is happening? Yes, again. Many people think that, just because I don't want to talk about the pandemic, I don't want to deal with it, then it does not exist. That is not true. Hiding something under the carpet does not mean it's gone. It is there. I'm simply refusing to acknowledge that. So you need to really understand, why are you drinking? Drinking can make existing mental health concerns really bad. And is drinking a way to cope for severe mental illness? than seeing someone as a professional. What is the physical impact of stress? So I told you, right? Stress generally does not show a lot of physical symptoms, but it produces a lot of physical impact. So cortisol increases appetite, right? And so if your appetite is increased, you would want to eat and eat. How does cortisol get increased? Cortisol gets increased because of high levels of stress. So more stress translates to more higher version of cortisol. That means you want to eat. And what will you want to eat? Probably junk food, sugary stuff. So it's very important that we maintain our low levels of stress so that our cortisols do not increase, so that we are more physically fit. Most often you will see in the pandemic, they say, you know what, I have increased 5 pounds, or my weight has gone down by 10 pounds. It's not just because someone is at home and has more access to food or, the pantry close by. A lot of it is also due to high impact of stress. So, we feel hungry, we are supposed to eat food. That's very normal. We are not even disagreeing about it. But emotional hunger and physical hunger, there are two parts to it, right? So we really need to understand, is this emotional hunger, which is asking me to eat food? Is it actually physical hunger, which is asking me to eat food? Let's try to make the distinction between the two. So the other part of stress, sleep problems. So in the last 3 months, the call volume for Sanjeevani almost tripled. And 1/3 of those calls were coming between the hours of 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. And you would ask, why would someone call up at that hour? Are they not sleeping? What are they doing at that hour? Yes, dear friends, people's sleep habits have been messed up. So when they should be sleeping, they are thinking. Now, because during the night, nightfall has started, everything is quiet. There are no distractions, household chores, work, children, or other commitments. Because of low distractions, the anxiety levels are high because they're thinking more. They're thinking about all, other things going on. And then because you are more worried, what happens? You start getting worried. And when you start getting worried, people think, well, I need to talk to someone. So let's call up a helpline, a mental helpline, and, share my concerns or my worry. So friends, try to ensure that you are not messing up your sleep habits. Okay. Social media, Boon or Bain? We have to consider social media is a boon because of our communication channel. We need to know what's going on with everyone. Are they well? Are they taking care of the families? What are the children doing? Everything is going on. But 24/7 on social media is not a boon, it's a bane. In fact, it can make you feel worse. Your stress levels will increase like anything to say, look at them, look at how fun they are having. And me, I'm stuck up in the pandemic, I'm stuck up in front of my computer, I have nothing else to do. So limit your engagement to social media for no more than a couple of hours. Social media also brings a complex in people, to say, hey, I'm not looking good. I've gained 10 pounds. I look awful. I look miserable. I am missing out on all that is going on with the Red Saree team. I have to be there with them. I feel isolation. I am in depression and anxiety, and to kill time or to avoid my concerns about the COVID-19, I am using social media. Is there cyberbullying going on? Am I self-absorbed? So if these are some of the symptoms, if any one of you feel, or if any one of your loved ones are going through, let's put a little break into it. So our recommendation, of course, is to reduce social media usage when it starts to make you feel more lonely, right? We go to social media to interact, that, I need to be interacting with my friends. But if social media is making you more lonely, it's not a security blanket. Let's turn off the TV, the computer, and move on to better things. And the most important thing, friends, one of the big things I mentioned for alcohol or social media, are we masking other issues going on within us? Am I really worried about something and I cannot share my concerns with anyone? Are there financial concerns? Am I going through severe depression? Am I not able to take care of myself? Is my sleep schedule messed up? Is my food habits messed up? Do I need to change my life habits? Is my habits affecting my family, my kids, my spouse? Yes, at this time, that means something is going on with you, and it's okay to go to someone who is more knowledgeable and ask to say, hey, I'm going through all of this. Can you let me know if it's any kind of a mental health concern and I should be worried about? It's okay to be not okay. It's okay to be asking questions. So I do have time, especially for parents. Adults deal with depression and stress in different ways, and children who are now also in the house, managing their studies, or if they're little kids, they deal with issues in a different way. Their ways of expression of anxiety and depression is different. So please take a look at any of these symptoms if you observe in your kids, especially if it's happening for 7 days or more. Are there excessive crying and irritation? Again, if their sleep habits have changed, are they eating a lot? Are they eating very less? Are they worried, sad? Is bedwetting going on? Are they not taking care of themselves? Are their grades dropping? Are they not enjoying any activities with their friends? It's time to take a look if any of this is more than a week old. So different ways to support your child. Always let the child know what's going on. It's not to say, something misleading or incorrect information. This is COVID-19. It's affecting the world. These are the symptoms if someone has it, but there is cure available. This is how we need to prevent it. This is how we need to take care of it. Let them know the truth. Answer any questions they have. Ask and reassure them. I'm there with you, my child. I will be there to help you. You don't have to be worried. I am here for you. Again, with everything else, limit your family's exposure to social media or news if it's an overload of COVID-19. Keep up your routine, especially now school has started. If you have school-going kids, you have to maintain the schedules. Study time, play time, family time, dinner time, and so on and so forth. And lastly, let's all try to be a role model. It's not easy, but it's not difficult either. If I take breaks, if I take exercise seriously, if I follow a set routine, if there are kids at home, they are sure to follow me. But it's okay. Parents, if I'm stressed, I can let my child know, look, I think I am worried a lot, or I just want to share with you that if you see daddy or mommy, behaving in a different way or being concerned, it's simply that I am concerned. All right. So 10 ways to help your child look after their mental health. Again, just quickly recap. Be relaxed, play with them, sleep on time, be a role model. Keep talking. Let it be a communication which is 2 ways. Teach them coping skills. Look, these are tough times, but we should all be ready to deal with tough times. Else, what is going to happen? My stress levels will increase. I cannot control the pandemic. I can control how I feel about it. I can control the situation in my house, and I can learn other ways so that my family is in a happier state of mind. Take care of your well-being, self-care, autonomy, and maintaining relationships. All right, so moving on. Here again, just a quick, some of the tips to support your child's mental health. Again, just requesting again to reiterate, children have different ways to show their concerns in stress or depression. They do feel really stressed. They are also in a state of depression, and they are very worried with what is going on with the pandemic. And again, just giving some stats to say, in the past 3 months, we've gotten a lot of calls from teenagers, and not even teenagers, as young as 9-year-old. Please help me. Please help my mom and dad. I'm so worried about the pandemic. And how can we support? Let's check in with our loved ones very often. Telephone, email, letters, text messages, video chat, social media. Let us help keep our loved ones safe. If there are medications, let's keep a list of all of that, right? Monitor other medical supplies. Supposing you have a senior citizen at home, or you have a disease which requires constant caring, making sure you have a good supply always helps. Stock up on non-perishable food. Not that you need it, but it doesn't hurt. It will just spare you an additional trip to the grocery store. If you care for a loving one, monitor their situation. Speak to them often. Take care of your own emotional health. And again, I'm going to reiterate that we all have been on flights, right? So, the air hostess always says, well, if in case of emergency, take the oxygen mask, put it on yourself, then help the other person. If we are not emotionally well, how can I take care of others, right? So it's important that I understand my own emotional health and take care of it, and get help if it's not possible to take care of it myself. But I should be strong mentally, and I can help the others. Again, the other part, let's stay home if we are sick. Masks are really important. Depression, what have you got to be depressed about? You got a good job, you're living a life, you have a good family, you have a house. What else? It's time to change. Time to make sure that depression is real and it can happen to anyone. But our community, as all who are part of the session today, as a community, we have to say, yes, it's time to talk. And if you're going through depression, I'm there to help you. I'm there to help you, to simply listen to you, to comfort you, to understand you. Especially Asians, and again, including myself and South Asians, a lot of the Asians of the descent are really worried that, am I the carrier of someone bringing COVID-19? No, let's support all of them, right? Let's have empathetic and compassionate attitudes to this group of people and make them inclusive. It's not your fault it happened. It has happened. Now it has happened. We're going to deal with it in the most apt way. Domestic violence, I have time, so I'll run through it very quickly. Is domestic violence related to mental health?
I'm at home, actually. I'm in Zoom.
Hello? Oh, sorry. So is domestic violence mental health problem? You may be smiling. Well, domestic violence can definitely lead to mental health concerns. And especially in the last 6 months, the violence in home has again increased significantly, because in many years you would have seen, if you are part of a family, you're not single, a spouse or a child living in the house 24/7. So this increase of proximity and trying to adjust with people has increased domestic violence, right? So there's increased of the stress due to the pandemic, my inability to deal with a spouse, deal with a child, deal with a baby, all of it is giving rise to violence and child abuse. So what is domestic violence, by the way? It is intentional. Yes, it is. It's never by mistake. It is very much systematic. If it has been happening in the last 3 months, it's also possible it has happened before. It's just that it has increased significantly now. It does employ multiple tactics for the purpose of gaining power over the victim. And remember, domestic violence can be from man to woman, woman to man, man to man, or woman to woman. I'm sorry, female to female. And what it does, it destroys the victim's self-esteem and self-worth. It affects everyone. So never to think, if it's between a couple, it's only happening with them. The children are not to be worried. Everyone inside the house gets seriously affected, especially if it's a child. The repercussions of a domestic violence issue stays up till they're adult, and it happens that when they become adult, they do the same thing. So it's really alarming if we can curtail the issues of domestic violence in the family if it's happening. South Asians are mostly patriarchal. So, to break the cycle and see that this does not happen. And if you know someone is going through with it, please ask for help. We'll be sharing the Sanjeevani resources and other resources also. Sanjeevani is open 24/7 because problems never come 9 to 5. If you have, you can note down the helpline number. This is 224-424-0050. And then we also have the toll-free number, which is 1-855-435-7482. You can also text at this number if you do not wish to talk. You can also use the chat feature. There's many ways to get help, but the thing is, please get help if you or your loved ones are in any kind of an issue or you simply have questions. So there's also an email address if you need to reach to us. These are also some other national resources to help during COVID-19. We have the disaster distress helpline, the phone number, and also the text service. Alcoholic Anonymous. Call them, talk to them, send an email. It's free sessions happens every week, and anyone who's struggling with it can definitely get the helpline. The National Domestic Helpline, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The last 6 months, there had been 6 calls from persons of South Asian origin who were in the process of attempting to self-harm, right? Very alarming. 1 senior, 2 adults, and 3 teenagers. Please get the help whenever you need it. Call 911 as soon as there is something alarming happening. And there is also numbers which we are sharing of the National Alliance on Mental Health, the NAMI Illinois, NAMI National Helpline, the Community Counseling Centers of Chicago. Most of these numbers are national numbers, and anyone can reach to them anytime. And Sanjeevani, of course, is also a national helpline. So with that, I leave for questions.
Thank you, Promila. So this was such a enlightening session. So we have 1 or 2 questions from the audience. So the first question, what I see is from Venki, who is asking about the best ways to engage kids at home. And he's asking, can you suggest some good independent activities for them as parents?
Sure, absolutely. And this is a big challenge because parents have to work and they also need to supervise their kids' school. So how about you want to engage your child in doing household chores, right? Folding clothes, doing the laundry, maybe doing a vacuuming, dusting the house, laying the table. Small things can help the child be more independent and also contribute to helping within the house. If there are siblings, you may want to say, do you want to take care of the younger one for an hour or so? Sometimes parents have to pay for them. We're not encouraging that you pay, but give them an incentive. Well, let's have an ice cream if you take care of the younger one for an hour or so, right? How about the libraries are open for pickup? You can get the books and ask them to say, can you read it aloud for the younger one? Or can you just read it aloud for a few minutes of the day, right? Maybe if you have a play group, make sure they can play some online games. That is another way of doing it. Always monitor the activity, disable Wi-Fi, see what sites they are going to. This is something a parents has to take care of. But what we've seen, allowing them to help you with the household chores gives them more incentive and they are more engaged within the house also. And set up boundaries to say, daddy is working from 9 to 12. I have 1 hour of time and then I'm with you. Yes, we understand work is very important, but remember, you have to make the balance. You have to give time to your child. If the child is on his own or on her own for 4 hours, you have to give them 1 hour of time. This is something for you to manage your schedule. It's extremely important. Do not think 8 to 5 because I'm gone out of work, my child is on his own. That is not going to work. This is going to make the child more lonely, saying, my parents are here, but I cannot get access to them. I hope, Venki, this was useful.
Yeah, he did say that.
Again, not money. We don't say, many parents, they say, hey, I'm just going to give you $2, $5. It's not a big amount. Don't give them cash. Put it in a box to say, now you've earned $25, maybe you can buy a video game. How about that? So that's a big incentive to say. No cash per se.
Yeah, thank you, Promila. Benji did answer that. That was a great answer, and it is a great incentive, for the kids. So the next question is from Shree Gurusamy. She's asking what are some of the resources available for mental health support. I know you mentioned in your last slide about various resources that are available. So Shree, are you satisfied with the answer, or do you have some more questions?
Sure. So I know Shree is definitely, she's in that area too. The first thing is I'm going to go back to my example. If I have fever, I have accepted that I have fever, right? Once I accept, I'm aware of my fever, I then go to the doctor. Very important. Someone has to first acknowledge I have a mental health concern. Something is going on with me and I'm unable to understand what it is. My sadness, my worrying, my taking care of things not in the right way. Something is messed up in my life. So acknowledgement is important. Once you've acknowledged something is not working in you, is this a mental health concern? Is it a chronic stress? Is it depression? Once I understand that, yes, help is definitely there. Shree, as we shared, there's many resources, helplines are there, including Sanjeevani. Go to a trusted one, go to any of these free resources and simply ask, is what is happening to me a mental health concern? I'll give an example. Shree, and Deepika Padukone, most of the audiences know who she is, the most popular Bollywood actress. At the age of 20, since when she was a teenager, like 13, 14, she used to have episodes of depression, depressive episodes. She did not know what was going on with her. When she turned 21, she visited a doctor and the doctor said, Deepika, you have clinical depression. That day when she came out of the clinic, she was very happy. She said, thank God, I know I have a name for what is going on with me. Now I can start the treatment. So awareness is important. Acknowledgement is important. So first thing, awareness, and then help is definitely there. I hope it helps, Shree.
Thank you. So now I have the next question from Sri Shakti, Mr. Shakti, Dr. Shakti, and he's asking, how do you differentiate and determine depression from typical teenage attitude in high school kids?
Yeah, teenagers will behave in a certain way, right? But we cannot say everything to say, he or she is a teenager, he's going to behave like this irrespective. Any behavior which is causing a difference in the lifestyle of the student for a period of 7 days or more is not typical teenager behavior. There is something concerning. Let the parent have a talk with this child to say, why are you hyper for 10 days? What's wrong with you? Why can't you shower for 8 days? Why is your room not made up? Why are your grades falling for 2 semesters? This is not typical teenager behavior. There is attitude, but if the attitude is, for one person, for 10 persons, for the whole class, then something to be not worried, something to take care of, or at least, have the talk with the teenager. Is the teenager trying to mask some unhidden feelings and expressing those, tumultuous behaviors? So one teenager called up, again, I said, in the middle of the night saying, I'm worried. So many things are happening to me. What do I do? So we told him, next morning, tell your parents, go to a park, ask them to keep the phone inside the house. No phone. Let them sit and let them not get up for 30 minutes. Explain to them what's happening to you. Make them aware of your situation. Let them help you with dealing with them. So the conversation between teenagers and parents is very important from both sides. So observe. We also, as parents, we have to be aware of what my child is going through. What are his habits? how he or she is behaving. Is there a change in any of these patterns? So awareness first, then acknowledge, and then talk to your teenager.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I have another question from Leda Samu. She's asking, what are the symptoms of depression and how do you identify if a loved one is going through depression?
All right. So supposing we assume it's supposing an adult is going through depression. So what changes are you seeing in this person? So supposing you have known this for a longer period of time, you would be able to know, has something changed? Does the person seem very worried at times? Does the person feel extremely sad even with the happy moments happening inside the house? Is the person constantly worried about COVID-19? Is the person worried about his or her safety? Is he or she worried about the family? Is a job situation worrying him? Has he or she lost a job, or is in a financial dire condition? See what is going on. There'll be different kind of symptoms. As I said, constant periods of sadness and being worried all the time, right? Being anxious of small things. Hey, don't go out. I don't want to go and pick up the letter from my letterbox. There'll be COVID sitting over there, right? Don't talk to him. Don't touch this. Don't touch that. Is that OCD? Are you really compulsive disorder happening because of mental health concerns? So constant being worried, constant sadness, inability to sleep, sleeping a lot, eating really less, right? Not taking care of himself or herself. Is hallucinations happening to this person? Is the person thinking a lot about unknown concerns happening in the future? If any of these things are prevalent for a period of 7 days or more, it's possibly the person may be going through a period of depression.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I don't see more questions from the
There's
audience.
one more question. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Do you see more? Oh, okay. I see it. I see it. So Shadapti is asking, if someone calls Sanjeevani for help, would Sanjeevani share the person's identity with others, or will it?
It's completely confidential unless the person is in grave danger of self, and then it has to be reported to 911. But every conversation, every identity in Sanjeevani is completely confidential. It's never shared across with anyone.
Okay, thank you. Then there is one more question from Shakti. Well, is there a difference among boys and girls in the progression of depression? Who is more vulnerable and need help?
The boys. The boys are more vulnerable. And again, I should not say boys, males. In general, males are more vulnerable because of the stigma attached for them to acknowledge that they are depressed. And because they don't acknowledge they are depressed, they do not seek help. So if you have sons, or if you're a male, it's important that the vulnerability be okay to share and get the help. Girls are more vocal. Females are more vocal. Does that help, Annie?
Yeah.
I think so. Deepa Krishnan says husband. So
Absolutely,
what is
absolutely.
your take on that?
And male, because of the stigma attached to say, if I say I'm depressed, that means I am weak. And if I'm the spouse or a dad or a husband, I don't want to show my weakness to my family. So that is one of the reasons why a lot of males, including kids, teenagers, male teenagers, hesitate in coming forward to express concerns about depression. So take care of your little boys, your teenagers, if they're male teenagers.
Thank you. So I don't see more questions, but I have one last question.
Sure.
Rather, it is a suggestion. So, from my experience, I see that South Asians, they don't talk about mental illness, right? And there is still a lot of taboo associated with it. And from my standpoint, it looks like, we need to treat mental health,
And just
yeah, just like the physical health, we go
exactly.
into spiritual dimensions, to keep us physically and mentally healthy. But at the same time, in South Asians, we don't talk about mental health.
So it's a
Yeah, because
taboo
we keep that as a secret and we don't share that with,
because people
anybody.
right. So as I said, Annie, if I say I have depression, if I tell everyone I have depression, I need help, they'll say, look at this woman, she has depression, she's not a good person, there's something wrong with her, she's crazy, she's not dependable, how can she work, how can she take care of a family, she's not a complete person, she's a weak person. So me, if I go to you for help, I may think you will judge me, right? So as South Asians, we should request everyone, let's stop judging. Mental health is simply like having fever and going to a doctor to take Tylenol or any kind of medicines. Most often mental health concerns, psychotherapy, which is talk therapy, can help. Then you can go to a counselor, you can go to a psychologist, you can go to a psychiatrist. It all depends how severe the mental health concern is. So everyone, let's not judge. If someone goes and tells you, I am depressed, hey, Promila, it's okay if you're depressed. Come, give me a hug. I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to help you out. So I see some more questions, Annie.
Yeah, I see that. Nandana says that sometimes treatments for mental concerns lead to symptoms.
Can you repeat? I'm just going through the
Yeah, because, some people, when they take treatment,
leads
yeah.
to symptoms. Sometimes treatments for mental concerns lead to symptoms. So what happens, I'll give an example. Someone has a chest pain, right? So they may think, oh, okay, it's on the left side. Is it some kind of a heart problem, correct? Right? So that symptom, when they go to a physician, it may turn out to be something different. So likewise, sometimes it also may happen, I'm going through some other concerns. I visited my doctor and the doctor says, Promila, I think it's not just depression. Perhaps you have a bipolar disorder. Because the physician, when he started treating me, more of the symptoms came forward and her diagnosis was that maybe it was a different kind of a mental health concern. It happens with any kind of physical disease. Let's keep it that way. It may happen.
Yeah, so I think what Nanthan is trying to speak more specifically about the withdrawal features, once when you put on various antipsychotic therapies or anti-anxiety medication. So that is what Nantana is trying to say.
Okay, I'm sorry, I understood.
Yeah.
Right. It's very much possible, ma'am, that yes, it may lead to, depending on the medicines. And again, I'm not a doctor to prescribe that. This is something, if you feel that medication is leading to more serious mental health concerns, it's definitely time to talk to your doctor. They can either decrease a dose, give you an alternate medicine. Medicines, possibility is that the medicine can create more havoc in you. It's possible. So always talk to your doctor if you see something worsening. Because with Annie, people just sleep because you've kept your brain to sleep, so you're just sleeping. And sleeping is avoiding the issue, trying to deal with the situation, trying to avoid coping.
So I hope Nantana is happy with the answer. So the withdrawal features, So I think the treatment for the mental issues, we have medications, and in addition to all those counseling services, family therapy, milieu therapy, and other forms of therapies. But at the same time, those medications can cause withdrawal features, so it has to be individualized, and it needs more supervision. So thank you. So I have one more question from okay, one more. I'm sorry. I think
no, please go ahead. We have you have time, right?
Okay, all right.
The school grades. Yeah.
Okay, Shree, are you able to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I see Shakti is asking another question. Would you please specifically give example of issues and expectations that South Asians, first generation of immigrants, have that cause depression? For examples, expectations on school grade, attitude, etc.
Absolutely. So last 1 year, there were 3 reported suicides by teenagers and youth, and 2 of them were because of school expectations. Okay, so we all are. Some of us are parents there. If my child comes says, "Hey, mom, I think I got a D grade." Okay, D grade is not the end of life, child. There's more semesters to come. Worst come worst, you'll repeat 1 more year. For me, it's important. You're my child. You are safe. You're healthy. You're in front of me. And C, D grade, these are just alphabets. Let me throw it out of the window. So, sir, as parents, especially South Asian parents, we are so stuck on our child being perfect. A child, good in music, sports, an all-rounder going to Ivy League colleges. Let's be practical. What's more important to you? To have your child be healthy and safe in front of you than a child who gets an A grade, is in a lot of emotional distress, has created his life to be very, very complicated. What would you want? So as South Asian parents, one of the expectations is let the child do what he or she can do, his expectation. Let us not measure the ability of my child as A, B, C, and D. Each child has got different abilities. Someone getting a D can do excellent once he or she grows up. Someone with an A grade can have different outfalls. So our measurement of a child's success is not measured by alphabets. Never, never. And if so, if your child comes and says, "Dad, Mom, I got a D grade," give them a hug. "Oh, it's a D grade. Come, let's go have ice cream. At least you didn't fail, right? That's a good thing." Reassure them that that grade is nothing. I still love you. So this is missing a lot from South Asians, especially with our children, because academic excellence is something measured way, way high. Let them be normal kids. If they want to pursue something different from what parents want, it's okay. Just because I'm not a doctor, I want my child to be a doctor, I cannot force him or her. Let him or her pursue his own passions. Let's not stuck up our thoughts, our desires into them. So again, especially for South Asian parents, I hope this helps, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Dandana, is how to handle peer pressure as parents, kids, and spouses?
And peer pressure is there, no doubt about that. There's different kind of peer pressures. Do I look pretty? Do I have nice, cool clothes? Do I have the brand purse? Do I look handsome enough? Do I have a girlfriend? Do I have a boyfriend? Do I want to go for a date? I don't have any of those. Then am I being peer pressured in doing something? I am not cool because I have not had the can of beer. Or maybe I have not tried that LSD or marijuana or whatever. This peer pressure is there. If your child does any of this thing because of peer pressure, if it's just one instance, don't, again, recommend that not a big issue be made out. Talk to your child. Hey, why did you drink that can of beer when you're only 16? Let me tell you why a can of beer at this age is not beneficial for you. Let's have the talk, right? Did you do it because your friends were doing it? Were you forced into having that drug because it was cool? Hey, son and daughter, let me tell you what are the effects of having that drug at that tender age. So you want to go and date that boy or that girl at age 15? Good. You know what? Let me tell you why you should or why you should not. Right? Small things. And again, parents have to go one step lower. A child has to go one step above, so that they both match. Because in South Asians, parents are, child is down here. They don't see eye to eye. They don't try to understand each other. They do not accept the kind of education system is here and how does the surrounding work. A 21-year-old girl came and said, "My mom does not allow me to date," right? And then at age 25, she says, "What, you're not getting married? From where will I produce a boy?" Right? So think, I mean, he's giving an example. If your child says, I want to date because my friend is dating, set up boundaries to say, hey, dating at 15 has ABC, dating at 20 ABC, and dating at 25 has ABC. So do in steps. So what I'm trying to say is you have to create the boundary between your child.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree with you because, our kids, they live in a mode of approach, avoidance, conflict, because, and I keep seeing, kids, when they are in their college, they live in culture shock because parents, they have their own set of culture. They bring in the Asian culture. But once when they are in college or maybe in their school, they have a different culture. But when they go to church or mandir, they have different culture. So they live in a kind of
it's called a sandwich.
Struggle always.
Sandwich.
So yeah, they're sandwich.
Yes.
So, but we keep blaming our kids. It looks like we put them into the situation, but then we pinpoint on them, stating that you are wrong. Yeah, but it's rather us, we put them here and then, we are pointing on them. So I think we need to have a kind of approach where we understand their issues and struggles and then try to deal with, find solutions and helping them to find solutions rather than, blaming them or labeling them for whatever behavior that they show up. So
and another minute or so, as immigrant, I think most of us in this call are immigrants who have come either first generation or second generation. The reason they left their home country to come here was to build a different kind of a life. Not that American culture has everything positive, but there are many positive things in this culture. So when our child goes to school and tries to embrace that culture, we should not be outrightly saying, I lived in India, I did this, I did that, so must you. I did that 30 years ago. You are here. Embrace it, child. I'm going to embrace because I brought you in this country to take the most of what the American culture showing. Okay, so I cannot tell you, past is here, our children want to go in the future, and parents, we are always stuck in the future, in the past. I did this, I studied with paper, had less clothes, I lived in a small house, that's fine. Now I'm here, my child is moving forward, so let's try to be at the same pace, if closer, with that child. Past is gone, it will not come back. So present is important and future is important.
Lovely.
Great. I think Sanjeevani must, organize some workshop, for the teens or maybe for the kids or maybe even for the parents to create that kind of awareness.
I think it's
societal awareness.
It's more, and I'll tell you that the teenagers who called and they said, Sanjeevani team, can you please talk to our parents?
I agree.
Yes. Yeah, I think we need to go into the root cause analysis and then find out where is the issue, and then fix that
and
issue.
The thing is, if issues identified, fixing will automatically happen.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Thank you. Shree, over to you to end the session.
Thank you so much, Annie, for helping out with the question and answer session. So again, on behalf of Red Star, I'd like to thank everyone that joined today for this very good session by Promila Kumar from Sanjeevani. And, the recording will be available on YouTube and Facebook. So if you need to look back at the resources that she shared, feel free to do that. And we hope to bring several more informative sessions like this that can keep all of us healthy and bring the pandemic. So thank you, Promila, for your time. And
so much, Shree,
congratulations again on the 5th anniversary of Sanjeevani. And
Thanks so much.
we like to give thanks to all your volunteers. One last thing I wanted to mention, Sanjeevani volunteers, they speak several Indian languages. So
15 South Asian languages.
So, people that call, can actually talk in their native language without having any fear. So I think that is one of the highlights of Sanjeevani, that we are able to communicate in their own language. So thank you again, Promila, and thank you all for
and the Red
your
Saree team,
evening with
wishing
us.
you all the best.
Yeah,
And thank you everyone
you.
who joined. Stressed, don't go depressed having your dinner.
Yeah.
This will pass. Pandemic will pass. It's a matter of time, just a matter of time. Just have your masks ready.
Before we end,
Thank you.
I would like to thank everyone, but I'd like to recognize one person, which is the priest and their family from my church. So I would like to especially recognize my, priests from the church, because the resources like Sanjeevani, that they offer. I think even our church could utilize those services, especially for the the teenagers and maybe the elderly people who are going through some of those issues. So thank our priest and their family for joining. Because these resources are there, so now only thing we need to reach out, and then we will have many more resources like that.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.